Hi everyone, welcome to the part 2 of JavaScript for beginners. Let me here. I'll be taking through this video. The last time we saw what JavaScript is, how to use JavaScript, where JavaScript is used, and we did the first program in JavaScript. In this section, we're going to be covering variables, data types, and operators in JavaScript. So, kindly take a seat, turn your PC on, or your computer, or your phone, any gadget you will be using to practice, and let's dive into this. Please don't just watch as if you are watching a movie. Practice along. Now let's start with variable. What is a variable in JavaScript? In JavaScript, a variable is a container that holds value. You can think of a variable as a labeled box where you can store values. Declaring a variable in JavaScript. To declare a variable in JavaScript, you use the let, the const, or the var keyword, followed by the name of the variable. Now, let's move to our editor and see how to declare variables in JavaScript. I'll be clearing what is on the screen right now. That's what we did on the previous tutorial. So I'm just going to press Ctrl A and hit back. Everything is out. Now, let's see how we can declare variables using JavaScript. Now I'll start with a let. I'll say let name and semicolon. Hit enter. I'll say const pi equals 3.14. Pi equals 3.14. And I'll do with the var and what will be the name. Let's say we'll go with h, and that's it. That's how you declare a variable in JavaScript. Now let's see how we can assign values to variables in JavaScript. Now, what's a value? Like I said, a variable can be like a box, a labeled box where you can store stuffs inside. Let's say a box labeled soaps, where you store soaps. Those soaps are the value. So now, for example, let's say we want to assign name with a value. We'll assign John. Let's say we assign John Doe to name. Now if you look here, we have an error. So what I remember, assign, in order to assign you have to use equal to, like that. And if you look at the pi is already assigned. We'll get to know why we assign pi and skip the other ones. Now let's assign a value to h. Now hearing the word h, it sounds value like, right? Because h is a number. So I'll say equal to, I'll say 23. That's it. That is, h holds a value of 23, pi holds a value of 3.14, and name holds the value of John Doe. That is how you assign values to variables in JavaScript. Once you declare a variable, you can assign a value to it using the assignment operator. Variables naming rules. Now let's see the rules how you name variables in JavaScript. Now when naming a variable in JavaScript, keep in mind the following rules. 1. Variable names can only contain letters, digits, underscores, and dollar signs. 2. Variable names cannot start with a digit. 3. Variable names are case sensitive. Talking about being case sensitive, let's say for instance, let's say for example, var h is equals to 10. These are two separate variables. These are two separate variables in the memory. This one is totally different from this other one. So that's the case sensitive stuff I'm talking about. Or if I do something like var h like this, this is another variable. These three variables are totally different from each other, even though this one and this one are holding the same value, but they are totally different from each other. That's what I meant by case sensitive. All right, best practices when working with variables in JavaScript. When working with variables, it is a good practice to use the following. Use meaningful and descriptive variable names. Avoid using reserved keyword as variable names. Use let and cons instead of var. See you in the next one. We'll be talking about data types. Alright, now let's talk about data types. Let's say, for example, you having a labeled cartoon, right? A label box with values inside. Let's say for example, you have soaps, you have socks, you have trousers, and so on inside. Those are different values. Or you have sachet waters. Those are different values inside that box. Now, in programming or in JavaScript, let's see what data types are. So those are different kind of values, different type of data into the box. So let's see what data types actually are. Now, the number data type, like number data type represent numeric values. Let's talk about numeric values. It can be anything: whole number, negative whole number, decimal number, and so on. For example, here what we have on the screen here, we have this is a number data type and this is a number data type. This is called floating point numbers or decimal numbers, and this is a whole number or integer. So this is an integer number. Now let's move on to string. The string data type represent text values. For instance, we already have one on the screen, the name John Doe. If you look there, I type John Doe in between quotation, that's single quotes. So that represent a text value. So that's string. So anytime we refer to something as string, we'll be referring to anything in between quotation. Even if it is a number, let me say for example, let a equals to, and I say quotation 5. It can be single or double quotation, no problem. That 5 is not a number. That 5 is a string. Another string can be let a car equals I'll go with Toyota. That's a string. So that's string data type. Continue with data type. Let's talk about boolean. A boolean data type is any variable that holds a value that points to like true or false, or negative or positive. Booleans are either true or false, negative or positive. Let's declare boolean variable here, a variable that holds a boolean value. I will say let is male equals that. This is a boolean variable. If you look the name, say is male. Is male can either be true or false, can either be a male or female. So that's a boolean data type. Now let's move on to null and undefined. The null and undefined data type represent absence of any object value. Let's say the absence of a non-value. Like let me say let a, let me go with b equals, okay, nothing like this. This is going to give back undefined because there's nothing inside. You can still assign undefined to it, like equals to undefined. That's something JavaScript does. You can still assign undefined to it. You can do something like just use const. I say const let me go with x, and I'll say x is equals null. This is a null variable and this undefined variable. It's a null and this is an undefined variable. So this one, if you run it, it will give you undefined. Run this one, it's gonna give you null. Now before we continue, let's try to like output these values and actually see what they give to us as output, because we have just been typing and we haven't done anything to see what's happening. And so let's hook up and see what's going on here. Now I will start here, just pop in here. I'm gonna say log console the log, and I'm gonna log name. Now login name, forget about this, really why for now. Okay, now to see the value the result of this, I have to press right click on the screen, inspect, and I'll be going to console. What you see is John Doe. So I see here. So what we see here is John Doe. Now, in order to print another variable or console another variable, let's say let me console h. Let me go with h. I'm going to pass h. Let me just pass on text here. put quotations, comma, and say this is the age. I'll put it like this, and here instantly, all right, we see this is age. Kind of zoom a bit. Yeah, hope this is clear. So this is age. This message is appearing here, this unchecked, because of I'm using an extension here, so there's no problem, everything is okay. So this is the age. Now let's try for X and B. With console log, you can log two things at once. So I'm going to use quotation. I'll say this is X, and I'll say comma X, comma this is B, and I'll say comma B. Now let's say what's popping up here. Just refresh, and you see that X is null and B is undefined. So that's how you print out values. That's how you print out values. Like if you want to really see what you stored in a variable. Like I said, variables are just containers that hold value. Anytime you refer to that container, then it gives you a value that is inside. That's how it works. You store a value in a container. Anytime you want to use that value, whatsoever is in the container, you refer to the container and you get out the value from the container. Now let's talk about some best practices when working with data types in JavaScript. When working with data types, it's a good practice to use the correct data type for the value you are working with. Avoid using unnecessary conventions. All right, see you in the next slide where we'll be talking about operators in JavaScript. And please subscribe to the channel. This channel is a new channel. Please subscribe and also keep comment based on the video and your thoughts about the video, and anything you want me to improve on, I'll be glad to, or a question from me, I'll be glad to answer. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you. Alright, let me give back here, and hope you are still following up. And if you are still following up, thumbs up for you. Thank you for following up with the tutorial. Now let's talk about operators in JavaScript. In JavaScript, an operator is a symbol used to perform operations on values. JavaScript has several types of operators, including arithmetic operator, a comparison operator, logical operator, and so on. And we'll be seeing these operators very soon. Alright guys, let's start with arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators perform mathematical operations on numbers. Let's start with a plus operator. Now what I'll be doing, I'm going to comment everything on the screen. Oh, is this the first time you hear about a comment? Yeah, this is what comments looks like in JavaScript. If you put double slashes behind any line of code, it becomes a comment. Comment means a comment is a line of code that will not execute. Comments are only there to help other developers and even yourself to record what you were doing, or for debugging purposes. Or I will get back to comment later. So let's start with the arithmetic operator. I'm just gonna do a variable here called sum, and I'm going to assign sum to 4 plus 5, sorry. And what I'm gonna be doing next is log. I'm gonna log out the sum so we can see what is actually going on. So after doing this, let's see here. Okay, it gives us 9. 4 plus 5 is 9 actually. Let's see the minus operator or subtraction operator. I'm going to do another variable here called difference. Difference, and I'm going to assign it to 5 minus 2, and Still the same thing. I'm gonna log it out. And difference, you must have noticed that at times I don't use semicolon. There's some lines of course that I just skip. It's because in JavaScript semicolons are not that mandatory. They're not that mandatory, except you're declaring a variable and not assigning a value to it. But when you assign a value, it's not that mandatory, or for other lines of codes. At first it was, but right now it's not. So let's see the output. It gives us 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. So let's see for multiplication. So let's go. Let product equals 4 times 5. And if you are used to computers, the asterisk operator, the asterisk is a multiplication operator. That's how it works. Okay, let's console log it out and product, and here we have 20, which is correct. And for the last one, let's see, let quotient, that's this division operator, and I'm gonna be assigning a 10 divided by 2, and you're gonna be using /2 like so. And let's log it out and quotient, here we go. And here we have 5. Yeah, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Alright, and the last one here was the mod operator. The mod operator here is used for remainder. Oh, this is cool. This is remainder. This. So if you divide any value by any value and it has a remainder, then that remainder will be returned. So this is a mod operator. We have the mod, the division or quotient, we have the multiplication or product, we have the subtraction, or we call it difference, and we have the addition. So these are the operators in JavaScript, the arithmetic operators in JavaScript. Let me just keep a comment here, say math operators in JS. So those are some of the arithmetic operators in JavaScript. Next, we will be moving to another type of operator. So next we'll be moving to comparison operator. Alright, moving on to comparison operator. I'm going to comment everything that we did, and let's see the comparison operator example. So comparison operator, oh shit, operator, oops, cannot do something like this. So for the comparison operator, okay, what's a comparison operator anyways? Comparison operator, oh my god, comparison operator compares two values and return a boolean result. Get, like when they tell you compare something, this and this, what's the difference? You say, okay, this is either this or this is either this. This is different from this and so on. But this one returns true or false. Like they can say, is a blue pen the same as a red pen? The result is always gonna be yes or no. So that's what comparison operators are doing. So let's see how to work with comparison operators. I will start with let is equal to, let's start with the equal operator. So I'm going to say 2 is equal to. So this one is different from the single equal to. The single equal to means assigning, while the double equal to means comparison. So we are comparing these two. We are comparing if 2 is equals 2. Let's log it out and see the result. So I'll say it's equal, and here we have true because 2 is equals to 2. But if I should say 5 and save and run, and here it says false because 2 is not equals 5. So that's for the equal operator. Let's see the not equal operator. I'm just going to duplicate this line of code here. What I'll be doing is alt shift and down arrow to duplicate it. So say I'll just change this variable to not equal. Now with not equal, I'm going to remove one equal to and use exclamation mark. Say 2 not equals 5, and this should be not equal 2 not equals 5. Let's see the result, and it says true. Yeah, 2 is not equals 5, so that's correct. Now let's move to the next one, which is the greater operator or the greater than operator. For the greater than operator, let me say let is greater equals, let is greater equals 5, and use the greater than symbol or the angle bracket, something like that. Okay, the greater than symbol, and say 3. Now we are checking if 5 is greater than 3. So I'm gonna lock it out and say is 5 greater than 3. Okay, I'm logging something else greater. So 5 greater than 3. Here we see that it's true because 5 is greater than 3. But what if I say is 1 greater than 3? It's gonna say you hell no. So we got false here because 1 is not greater than 3. Now let's see for the less than. I'm just gonna duplicate this one, and let's see for the less than. I'm just gonna say the variable should be is. Alright, let's start with small letter is less, and I'm just gonna say here is less. Now we should have true because we should have true actually 1. Okay, yeah, I'm not changing the operator sign, so I gotta reverse this to less than operator. Yeah, we should have true because 1 is less than 3. And if I should pick this up like 7, and we gotta see first because 7 is not less than 3, and that's big up. That's something about the operator stuffs. And with JavaScript, there are some other operators under this comparison stuff that I want us to really touch because you're going to be seeing it a lot. You're going to see a lot as a JavaScript developer, or let me say upcoming JavaScript developer. Just keep yourself up, you're already there. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up for the video if you're feeling it. Now let's see other operators. See under comparison operator, we have strict operator. The strict operator is still something the same as the equals to operator. Let me bring it down here. The strict equal operator. Let me say I have 2 here and I have quotation of 2 here. If I should log the result out of is equal, let's voila, it says true. Because what it's doing is it's checking the value, it doesn't care about the data type. But if we want this to check the data type, like making it strict, I'm gonna say double equal to, and if I do this, it says false because right now what it does is it first checks the data type. Is the first data type the same as the second data type? If not, it's gonna say hell no, those two are not the same at all. And I'll say that we have been dealing only with values. You can still do this using variables. Let me say let a equals 5 and let b equals quotation of 5. 5. Let's just do 5 and 5. Here I'm gonna say A, and here I'm gonna say B. And if we run this, we see have the same. What is happening here? Now we are actually using variables. We are taking the value from A and comparing it to the value of B, which they are not the same. Placing my mouse on top of B, it says B is a string. Why placing it on A, say A is a number. But if I'm to use the single or the two equal to, we are going to see true, because what this one does is it just checks the type, it just checks the values. It's 5 equals 5. Yeah, they are all 5s. Okay, but with this triple equal to, what it does is it checks the data type before doing any other comparison. So that's strict. If we are to do the same for not equal, let me just copy this section here, because we are just going to be dealing with switching of values. So if we are to do the same thing with the not equal, what I will do here is pull double, that's exclamation and double equals, which is still the same. It's still gonna give us false. Let me remove one of this one. It's still gonna say, oh yeah, 2 is not equals 5. Or what if I say 5 like this, which is false, because 5 not equals to 5 is false, because 5 is equals 5. But if I put this into quotations, it's gonna say true, because the other 5 is not the same as the other 5. So that's strict comparison. That's not just all. We still have stuff like less than equals to, greater than equals to, less than equals to, greater than equals to, and so on. So for that, I'll be giving you guys as an exercise. Practice that and see you on the next slide on another operator type. Alright people, hope you are still following up, and thanks. And let's see the logical operators in JavaScript. Now, what are logical operators? Logical operators perform logical operations on Boolean values. Remember, with comparison operator, it compares it on values. It did not specify if it does it on Boolean values. While with arithmetic operators, it does it on numeric values. So now let's see how we can work with logical operators. But before we start, there are 3 logical operators we are going to see in this slide. We have the double and symbol, the pipe symbol, and the exclamation symbol, which we have already seen above, but we're still gonna see it now how it works. So let me comment these ones out. Hope you guys are feeling it. Please throw some comments there to keep me motivated. All right, so let's see how we work with this. Now let's start with the and one. That's the double and symbol. It represents and in logical operators. So let me say let and result, as the result of and, equals true. Remember, it says it does it on Boolean values. So we're going to try true, double and true, like so. And what next is to log it out. Let's log it out. Boom. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say and result. If I should save this, we say it's true. The result is true because and are true. But what if I flip this to false? What is it gonna say? False. So it's comparing and logically it's not always true. Whenever you meet true and false, it's also going to be false. But what if we say true here and false here? We still give us the same result. Yeah. So just know, no matter how it is, when you get to meet true and false or false and true, it's always going to be false. Now let's see for the pipe operator. This means and. This one means and. Let's see for the or. The pipe means or. So I'm just gonna duplicate this and say for the or result, and I'm using double pipes here, double pipe operator like this. And if I do this, okay, I have to print it out or log it out. Oh, just coming from Python, so we are used to print. So I'll say let's log it out in JavaScript. We are logging things out. Now it says true when it comes to the pipe operator or the or operator, either one of them. If it is, whenever false and true meet, it's always gonna be true. Whenever true and false meet, it's always gonna be true. So that's just something you have to keep note of. That's just how it works. But if you say true and true, always gonna be true. True and false is always gonna be true. But what about false and false? About false and false, okay. False is gonna be false. So thank you guys. I think this is the end of this section. We have covered a lot. Went from variables, data type, now cover the operators. Now we'll say for best practices when working with operators, it is a good practice to use parentheses to classify the order of operations. Avoid using unnecessary type conversion. And we'll be covering more on this on the, on upcoming videos. Okay. Alright, so now you should be confidential. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? That's it for this tutorial on JavaScript variables, data types, and operators. You now know the basics of working with variables, data types, and operators in JavaScript. Next step, practice writing JavaScript code using online platforms or code edit. Explore more advanced topics such as control structure, functions, and objects. Those are the topics we are gonna be covering next, and I'm excited to be carrying you guys with this exciting tutorial course, and hopefully you are excited too. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment if you are having any doubts, anything on any other question when it comes to programming. I'll be glad to help. Alright, see you in the next video.